UFC 200, Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz, has officially been confirmed to be canceled. Enter the arena uncut, the Don Juan Banks. Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz will not take place. And we're going to get into the article, but first, let me give my opinions. So many people, I don't even, I'm looking at the subscribers, which we will reveal soon, have subscribed over this situation alone. You know why? Because I've accurately predicted exactly what was going to happen. Conor McGregor would not fight Nate Diaz. And just to take you through this synopsis very briefly, Conor McGregor, according to the UFC, was obligated to show up for a press conference, promotional duties, a tour this Friday. And unfortunately, Conor McGregor could not attend that. He said that he is training in Iceland, and he cannot attend. So Dana White pulled Conor McGregor from the card, and he said that no fighter can elect not to attend a press conference, a press tour, promotional duties. So he pulled him from the card. Then he said, if you're retired, I will have Jose Aldo and Frankie Edgar fight for your belt, your featherweight championship. Not the interim, but his actual belt. His belt will be inactive. It will be stripped. So Conor McGregor, we were waiting, and we waited patiently. And Conor released a statement. And Conor listed his side of the story because there's always two sides to every story. And he said that he's been through countless press tours, countless promotion for Jose Aldo, who pulled out, for Rafael dos Anjos, who pulled out, and that he needs this time to focus and to train. He's not saying that he will not fight Nate Diaz. So what was the next thing after that? The statement came out earlier today. This is the next development, and it's an unfortunate one. And I've been the bearer of bad news today. Um, a lot of you fans, you know me. This has not been a great day. I did a video on former WWE superstar China. She passed away moments ago. The legendary singer, artist. He was just so talented, multi-dimensional. Prince just passed away. And now I have to give you more bad news. UFC 200, Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz will not be taking place. It's not taking place, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to happen. And a lot of people are disappointed, including myself. Candace, Sean, my team, they continue to update me on any news that comes out. And Tommy from the Bronx has helped me out. And we got the best MMA analyst on today, Tommy Razorstein. I had said in a previous video, because so many people subscribe, because they want to hear, who is this Don Juan Banks? What does he know? Well, I'm going to tell you what I know. I'm going to be very clear and precise and specific that I knew this fight wasn't going to take place because Conor was taking a stand, an appropriate one, I believe. I'm riding with Conor in this situation. But the UFC was going to take their stand. And people have to look at it from the perspective of UFC, Dana White. They don't want any fighter to be neck and neck. They don't want any fighter saying they're going to be bigger than the UFC. That's not the objective. The objective is for the UFC to continue to go on no matter who is making it move. And when Conor took this stand, I knew it was a risky one because he lost to Nate Diaz. This situation has been a very insane situation. Conor McGregor is the only athlete that's been able to call as many shots as he has so far, to jump up in weight classes. Um, the amount of money he's getting paid, to being able to call this rematch. But you got to keep in mind, you got to bear in mind that he did lose to Nate Diaz, and they're not going to let you have everything that you want. And they weren't going to allow this. And Conor took his stand. The UFC took theirs. And now he's off the card. I did a video, and I told you this. I specifically told you that Conor McGregor would not fight Nate Diaz. And I wanted to make it clear, because I said, if they treated all these other athletes like that, if they pulled Nick Diaz a long time ago, and the one person that has been able to overcome all that is Conor McGregor, and the reason why was because he was winning. He won all his fights in the UFC. He knocked Jose Aldo in 13 seconds. If you keep winning, now if Conor won against Nate and he said he didn't want to show up, they would have gave him what he wanted. But when he lost, that hurt his stock. That hurt his reputation. That hurt his brand. And they feel they gave him enough. And Dana wasn't going to budge. The Fertittas wasn't going to budge. And there was tension. There was tension. They don't want to tell you about that. They don't want to say, oh, well, there's tension between him and Dana White, or tension between the Fertittas. Oh, yes, there is. I did a video on that too. And Dana White exploded, and he said that, oh, it's no truth. This reporter is this and that, and he don't know what the fuck he's talking about. And I don't know if people know that it's supposed to be. So when reporters, journalists, they say the free press, meaning that you can investigate and release any information you want. No, you can't, because there are governmental bylaws that you can't just put out any information. Some information they don't want you to know, because they don't want to cause widespread panic. And they can even take it down here, take it off of YouTube. There is tension between him and Dana White. There's tension between him and the Fertittas and the UFC. And it was already brewing, but they gave him money. They tried to appease that and suppress it. And it was working. And they were going to continue on giving Conor exactly whatever he wanted as long as he kept winning. But when he lost some things too. Now, was he going to deliver here at UFC 200? Without a shadow of a doubt. It would have broke the previous record of 8.1. 3 of his fights are the 3 of all time. Conor McGregor is the biggest UFC star in the history of the UFC. And you could argue Ronda Rousey, but you got to look at the numbers. Who brought in more numbers? Conor McGregor holds the key. He holds the top fight. And he won't be fighting on this card. They're showing that they're not going to give in to all his demands. And he said he's not retired because of USADA and everything through his statement. But after they made this decision, I believe he'll be back, but it's going to be a rocky road. I don't know if he'll be out so long that they take the title or whatever they do next, but they're definitely not seeing eye to eye. There is huge tension. Conor released a statement, and it said some things in it, but it wasn't an all-out statement. He attacked Dana White in the UFC, and some people say, "Oh, Don, you don't know what you're talking about. He didn't exactly attack." Well, yes, he did, and you might hear the verbiage become even more aggressive. It's just step by step. It's getting more and more tension, and the animosity is building more and more and more. Conor McGregor has just lost millions of dollars, sponsorships, the promote, everything. I'm riding with Conor McGregor. I thought they could have made some leeway. Have some leniency, be flexible, given the circumstances. But they feel like if they do that, then other fighters will gather up and they will put together a union and they will go on strike because they're not paid enough money and a Reebok deal and all these other intangibles. I'm riding with Conor. I think Conor McGregor is more right in this situation, but I understand what the UFC feels, and I'm not going to call Dana White anything. I mean, he's the president and he's making the decisions because you got a code of ethics. You have rules and regulations. You have bylaws, and whatever company you work for, whoever you work for, if those rules are violated, then you can be punished. And the punishment is Dana White saying very clearly, very precisely, very eloquently that I don't care who you are, how much money you generate, how much popularity you have, how big your pay-per-view numbers are, how big your gate is. You have to do promotional duties or you will be subject to harsh consequences, which is being removed from the show and losing your money. And I told you they were going to do it. If they would do it to anyone else, they damn sure would do it to Conor McGregor. And I think the only reason why they wouldn't have done it if he had beaten Nate Diaz, if he beat Nate Diaz and he was fighting him again, or he was in another fight and he said I didn't want to come, they probably would have made the give in because he would, I mean, he would have won. He would have won the fight. He's neck and neck. He was neck and neck. I felt he was neck and neck. I don't think now because he lost that fight. I still think he's the best in terms of numbers and bringing in people to watch. And I think UFC 200 will go on. The show will go on, but I don't think that it will be as big as it would have been with Conor McGregor. I ain't saying it won't be big. It will be big, trust me, and I will watch. But I'm just saying, Conor McGregor brings this mystique. He brings this excitement. We're in his era, and without him on the card, it is not the same. But it still will be a humongous event. Let's get into this article. It's just so great to talk to you guys. It's just been a great experience. Gennady Golovkin versus Dominic Wade this Saturday. We're covering it. John Bones Jones versus Ovince Prue. We're covering it. Give you quick predictions. Golovkin will win and Jones will win. It appears, SureDog.com, that there will be no salvaging the original UFC 200 main event. According to TMZ.com, the Las Vegas-based promotion has officially canceled the welterweight headliner pitting Conor McGregor against Nate Diaz on July 9th at the T-Mobile Arena. The report comes on the heel of McGregor's Facebook statement in which he said he was ready to go for UFC 200 during a series of media appearances on Wednesday. Dana White left the door open for McGregor to get back on the UFC 200 card. However, the UFC president was adamant that the featherweight champion would need to participate in promotional obligations. According to his statement, McGregor was willing to strike a compromise that would cut back on some of those duties. It is time to be selfish with my training again. It is the only way, he wrote. I feel the $400 million I have generated for the company in my last 3 events, all inside 8 months, is enough to get me this slight leeway. I'm still ready to go for UFC 200. I will offer, like I already did, to fly to New York for the big press conference that was scheduled, and I will go back into training with no distractions. The UFC is planning a 3-city media tour for its bicentennial event that includes stops in Las Vegas, Stockton, California, and New York. According to TMZ report, the promotion offered to fly McGregor to each stop on a private jet while shipping all of his gym equipment from Iceland in order to simulate his training environment. McGregor did not accept those terms and was reportedly shocked when the UFC refused to grant him leeway in terms of media requirements. The UFC has yet to make an official announcement regarding the UFC 200 headliner after McGregor issued an initial retirement tweet earlier this week. White appeared on SportsCenter to reveal that the Irishman has been pulled from the event and that a new opponent was being sought for Diaz. McGregor is expected to have to defend his title against the Jose Aldo Frankie Edgar winner when he does return, according to the report. So they will give him that fight next. Which, believe it or not, could still be UFC 200. You never know, because this has just been so crazy. And that's something to talk about right now. I apologize for that. Jose Aldo and Frankie Edgar will be facing each other at UFC 200. Conor McGregor can face the winner. I apologize for that. First and foremost, once again, because we're live, Jose Aldo is facing Frankie Edgar at UFC 200 for the interim title, which could be Conor's title depending on this whole situation. Conor McGregor has been removed from the Nate Diaz fight and will not be fighting at UFC 200. So what I would like to say now is that this is a drastic move that's been made. I just read that they were going to ship his crew and his training materials out, which I believe is a huge benefit. And if I was, I'm going to do both sides real quick for everybody, and then that'll be the end. If I was Conor McGregor, having an understanding that Dana White is saying that no one is exempt from doing these media obligations. If I was Conor McGregor, I would have really took that into consideration, because both sides took a stand. And if I was the UFC, I would have given him the terms that he's asked for, because Conor did a lot, and I got to ride for him. You know, I'm not going to say what he did was wrong. I'm going to just say that I feel that what he did was take a stand, and he has a right to take a stand, especially after everything that's been done. I mean, the man's been on media tours for a very long time when other fighters have canceled. And I think McGregor should have been granted the leeway. So I'm riding with Conor McGregor. I would have definitely took it under strict advisement from his camp. If I was the manager and everything, strict advisement, meaning that I would have given in to a compromise instead of this event being canceled, the fight between both of them. But, you know, if everyone's on the same page, what they seem like they are in a Conor camp, he will not be at UFC 200 because he wasn't going to go. That fight's off. It's off. There's benefits from it being off. You know, Conor may not have 2 losses on his record, and he will face the Jose Aldo versus Frankie Edgar winner. And that's when the next time we'll see Conor McGregor, which will be a little while from now, it seems. So that is the situation, ladies and gentlemen. This event, the fight, has been canceled officially. Take this time to subscribe. First of all, I respect each and every one of you for supporting me and subscribing to Enter the Arena. We covered this up to the minute, and this is really the last transaction, unless Conor releases another statement. But he has to be careful PR-wise, because you don't want to agitate the situation even more, because Dana will probably next try to strip his title. Everyone, thanks for subscribing. I can see everyone, and I really respect you all for following us with this story. Once again, UFC 200, the fight between Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor is canceled. Peace.